Hey, welcome to a modern Affinity video. We are on the play, and we will play first. This is an interesting hand. So, we can do Citadel, Ornithopter, Veldscourge, and then play 3 Mox Opals to play our Master of Ethereum on turn 1. That's spewing off 2 Mox Opals as Lotus Petals, but that's a really fast start. I think we'll keep. Against some decks, like those with Path or Fatal Push, this could turn out disastrously if they're able to kill the Master on turn 1. But we're probably pretty safe, and if the Master lives, then I imagine we'll just kill our opponent in a few turns. Alright, time to see if we get punished. But hey, 8 power in play on turn 1. Can't be that bad. Radiant Fountain. Amulet Titan, maybe? Only thing I can think of that actually plays this card. I don't know what they're doing, but I'm gonna punch them in the face for 9 damage. Dismember on Master of Ethereum? Nope. Sometimes you have games where you have a lot of thinking to do. This, not really one of them. Yeah, this is definitely Amulet Titan. We're not actually losing a damage here by casting the Etch Champion, since the Master grows off of it. And this is gonna just give us an even better shot at lethal next turn. Depending on what he does. Maybe there's a way for him to come back from this, but I kind of doubt it. I mean, a Zeus is a start, but layer things before combat, just to make your Master of Ethereum bigger. Not like he's going to not jump block because you played it. I guess it doesn't really matter either way. He was going to jump block. But that's one thing about playing Affinity. Oftentimes, other decks, you want to always play your creatures after combat, just so that your opponent doesn't know what you're going to do. But with Affinity, most of the time you're incentivized them to play them before combat, so that you can either sack them to Ravager, or make your cranial platings bigger, or make your Masters of Ethereum bigger. Or sack your Ravager to put the counters on the new thing if they decide to do stuff like that mid-combat. The one time you tend to not want to play your guys before combat is in the early game when you're going to play a Steel Overseer. You'd much rather have them spend their removal killing your Veldscourge or something so that you can land a Steel Overseer uncontested. And this, I think our opponent is just waiting to realize that he's dead. There's no way for him to. I shouldn't say there's no way. He could do like Amulet into a Growth Chamber, into a Titan, into some other stuff. But he would have had to draw the Amulet this turn because he definitely would have played it in the previous ones if he had it. I don't know too well the capabilities of his deck. It's not really a popular one online. Our sideboard is pretty well set up for this, so go to sideboarding. All right, against the land deck, we want 3 Blood Moon. We definitely want Thought Seizes because he is kind of a combo deck. Honestly, you want Thought Seize against just about everything. And we should consider some Ancient Grudges for Engineered Explosives and the Amulets. Now, what do we want to take out? A lot of these nowadays are playing the Hornet Queen, and Etch Champions really are only good way to get through a Hornet Queen if they cast it. So I'm hesitant to cut these. Master of Ethereum, definitely great for racing. I could see cutting the Arcbound Ravagers. They're not really a removal heavy deck, and so the Ravager is not quite as good unless you're loading up an Inkmoth Nexus. For the most part, in most matchups where they have no removal, Ravager presents the least clock of any of your payoff cards, and so it's the most easily cut. It's like between the Ravager and the Champion. Sometimes you get the draws with Inkmoth Nexus where Ravager really pays off and it helps you kill them in a couple turns. But I think his deck plays Ghost Quarters. I'm not entirely sure about that. And if they do, they could tutor it up very quickly. Galvanic Blast can kill Azusa, but other than that, it's not very good against him. I'll leave in the Welding Jar because I do think he has Engineered Explosives and probably some Nature's Claims or something like that. We got the Galvanic Blast. We can adjust in game 3 if we get there. In racing matchups, I tend to not take out things like Memnites or Signal Pests just because you want to hit the board as fast as you can. Especially when you're boarding in Blood Moons, you want to have the turn 2 Blood Moon, and that's a lot easier when you have 0-cost creatures and Springleaf Drums or Mox Opals. If you cut too many 0-cost creatures, it's very hard to have an explosive turn 2 Blood Moon. See here, we have a turn 2 Blood Moon if we draw a land of any type in our next 2 draws, or a Mox Opal. So this is a keep. The possibility of having Blood Moon is just too strong to really mulligan it. Because against his deck, we just win if we cast Blood Moon, for the most part. Unless he has a basic or casts an Engineered Explosives beforehand, I don't really know how they get rid of it. And their deck does nothing when all of their lands are mountains. So I'm actually not even going to run out the Memnite just so that he can't kill it with some random thing. And hope we can slam that and just make him concede. Because we know next turn, no matter what, we're tapping the Memnite to the Springleaf Drum, unless for some reason he kills our Springleaf Drum this turn. So we're not really missing out on 1 damage. And I think the possibility of missing 1 damage is much less bad than the possibility of this dying to something random. Turns out it doesn't matter since we had a Mox Opal anyways, but the Mox, Memnite, and cast a Blood Moon. If our opponent just concedes. Nope. But 2 mountains really not going to do much against us. Got a redundant Blood Moon. I'm going to cast the Master and then... Another line we could have taken is to do double plating and then next turn Master and then hope to double equip plating, but I think the Master will just do more damage sooner. This line is slightly better if we don't draw an extra... if we don't draw an extra land. Cranial plating always makes the mana math a little bit strange. So there's the Engineered Explosives I was talking about on 0. So probably gonna kill our Mox Opal and our Memnite. That's fine. And here's where we're definitely glad we played the Master of Ethereum. As opposed to, because if we had played Cranial Plating instead of Master, we would have not gotten any extra damage. And just attacking instead of equipping, get 5 damage now. But he's still locked off casting anything relevant. cast the opal, play the other plating, equip plating. We're adding 2 artifacts to the field. This should be lethal. It'll be 14 damage. We'll be at -1. And that's the match. Alright. So it's been a little bit since I played Affinity. I've been playing only limited since Ixalan came out, since I've been preparing for the Pro Tour. Right before I recorded this video, I went into a league and went 5-0. But I've played a few, well, many hundreds of matches over the last few months, so I shouldn't be that rusty.